So we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach. Henry, get it together. You got ice cream on your chest. You're doing good for yourself.
Man, come on, before you don't get them.
John 5:39, everybody.
Reverend Brown.
Let's get some focus in me. Yes, I see, dear.
Bless you.
Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you believe me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Someone has just been struck. What direction do we want to take? Malachi chapter 1 verse 12. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Go over there with your mommy. What is it, 12? Yeah, Malachi 1 and 12. He say, but you have profaned it, and that you say the table of Yahuwah is polluted, and the fruit thereof, even his meat, is contemptible. So now we're just going to focus on this, and we might not even be worried about verse 13 and verse 14. Do y'all remember what the word profane meant? Does anybody in the back remember what the word profane meant? Hey, Gail. Anybody remember what the word profane meant? It meant to wound, to bore through. Just to make sure we get all up. Yeah, I can't look at it no more because it ain't on there. So remember that there, he said you profaned his, he said, but you profaned his name, which means you made his name. Let's sit back and look at it and follow where we're going. Who is that side? Was that mine? Sit down somewhere, son. Luke chapter 9. Luke chapter 9, about verse 18. Luke chapter 9 and verse 18. Hold on. Hello? Alright. Luke chapter 9 and verse 18. Say it came to pass as he was alone praying, his disciples were with him. And when he asked them, saying, whom say the people that I am? They answering said, John the Baptist. Some say Elijah. Others say that one of the old prophets is risen again. He said unto them, but whom?
Come here. Come here. Come here.
Somebody gotta go hit that box. Hold on. And they answered, one of the old prophets is risen again. He said unto them, but whom say ye that I am? Peter answering said, the Hamashiach of Elohim. And he straightly charged them and commanded them to tell no man this thing, saying, the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and chief priests and scribes and be slain and be raised the third day. So we know if you profane that name, you had to make it common. You had to make it common by wounding him and boring through him. Now again, remember, we still talking about atonement at the same token. Come on over to Isaiah chapter 53. Goodness grief. Hey,
Chris, take that in the other one. Too loud. Go.
I thought I told you about 3.5 minutes ago that there would be no playing in truck. Isaiah 53 and verse 4. Well, if you weren't doing things you had no business, you would have injured yourself. Let me see your hand, sir. You're in good health. Go and prosper. Isaiah 53:3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. We hid it as it were our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten of Elohim, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities, and the chastisement of our shalom was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. So remember, if they profaned the name, they profaned his name by making him common. We read this the other day. Well, at least not all of y'all. Pause. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 3. Hold Isaiah 53 and Malachi chapter 1, because we coming right by. Also get you, if I'm not mistaken, 2 Chronicles chapter 30 on general principle. First Corinthians chapter 2, verse 3. Screw it. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 1. And I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with the excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of Elohim. For I determined not to know anything among you save Yahushua HaMashiach and him crucified. That's what you've seen in Isaiah 53, and that's what you actually see in Malachi chapter 1. And that's what we talked about what atonement was about. It was about a cleansing and a remission of sins, and that had to come through a sin offering. And the only thing that Paul said he coming with is the suffering and the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. He says, and I was with you in weakness. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. You go with your mother. Sit down. Malia, sit down, sit down. I don't think she understands the command. They do. Hi, Lizzie. Hi, Leah. Put your shirt down. You're on camera. No one wants to see your belly button.
Leah, Lizzie, y'all need to go in your room.
Time to take a bath. See you later. He said, I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling, and my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Ruach and of power, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of Elohim. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. But we speak the wisdom of Elohim in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which Elohim ordained before the world unto our esteem, which none of the princes of this world knew, for had they had known it, they would have not crucified the master of esteem. So when you look back in Isaiah 53, it said they esteemed him stricken, he was wounded, and you go back and it said the proof profaned him and wounded him, because what we see in Luke chapter 9. If they would have known, they would have even done it. But it had to be done for a particular purpose, for the cleansing and atonement of the people. Let's look at John chapter 11, where you can see the high priest prophesied that and let them know this. John 11 and 45. See, they be missing out because they don't sit back there together. They better be like Martha was and separate yourself. That's what Martha did. She said, I'm coming over with the best part of it and stand back there with you niggas. John 11 and 45. Then many of the Yahudim which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yahushua had did believed on him. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yahushua had done. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we, for this man do many miracles? If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. And one of them named Caphias, being high priest that same year, said unto them, you know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, that the whole nation perish not. Now, according to the Torah, what would cause the nation to perish? I got you. I just happened to catch that beat. What would cause the whole nation to perish? If he said it was expedient for one man to die, what would cause the whole nation to perish? It would be the sin, because what did he say to Moses in Numbers 14? He said that I ought to kill the people as one man. Because what is the penalty of breaking the covenant? The people have to die. It's death. So without it, there's no redemption for the people. This is what dudes don't realize when they say the new covenant is not in effect. So if it's not in effect for all intents and purposes, you say the nation of Yasharal must die. Pastor came and got him. Said, let the nigga run. I'd have been dumped that nigga in the toilet. Feet first, head in the water. Let his nose touch it, then you just tap the level one time. And like they said, no.
Right.
So it ain't right. You working my nerve with this sensitive whining you're doing. You're gonna take your maggot behind the bed and you're gonna like it. Come on back to straight up and down. You know what I'm saying? Or you going to bed tonight, nigga. All these things going hard. You think after they got some food, they lay down and be quiet. Clearly, that was an error in judgment. So, nevertheless, knowing that you see Mashiach saying he's being wounded, he said you found his table contemptible. But let's go back to Malachi chapter 1 and let's focus. We zeroing in on one key point. One key point. Matter of fact, before we, I'll do it after. We're gonna read verse 12 again. Malachi 1 and 12. That lit them that like it. He say, for you have profaned it, and that you say the table of Yahuwah is polluted, and the fruit thereof, even his meat, is contemptible. So before I even think about what I was going to go there first, we need to look at the fruit, and we need to look at the meat. So the first thing we need to go look at is Genesis chapter 1. I told Will earlier, I heard a dude trying to break this Genesis chapter 1 and verse 11 down about why you can't marry a Gentile, and it was the most despicable thing I ever heard. He said, I know what it means. I know it says grass, but you notice it says everything after its kind. And you know what he went after that? He went to Deuteronomy talking about mixed linen, mixed seed. See, he don't like the mixing. I said, well, that nigga need to mix his way and put their butt down. That was horrible. How you going to try to take mixing wool and linen and take that to talk about people mixing? That didn't even make any sense. Especially when you consider that Exodus chapter 12 says that Yasharal left out as a what? A mixed multitude. You know what I'm saying? I guess when the what it was, I guess the Gibeonites who slid through with the moldy bread and the sour wine, I guess they weren't supposed to mix too, because you don't think it wasn't nothing but a couple of them, right? So I guess you don't think they people married some Israelites too, huh? I guess they didn't do that. I guess Rahab just sat back and said that she reproduced. I guess the family of Rahab just died out with her then.
Sure, then Moses tell them if they be virgins, keep them.
He told her it sure did, so I don't know what he nigga talking about. Yeah, he had a little Ethiopian woman. That ain't the point. That man said if you slid through a country and you conquered the people and you saw a little butt you liked, she was looking a little nice, say go ahead and take it for yourself. Go ahead and pare her nails. You know what I'm talking about? Let her go ahead and get herself right for about 30 days. And then that's you, baby. So I don't know what them niggas talking about. What law you been reading? What law you been reading? You can pick your old strained out of battles. I like her. Look at Samson. What type of woman did Samson marry? A Philistine. He married a Philistine two times. Two times. One of them got given away to somebody else. And matter of fact, his mom.
He ain't married her. He just was espoused.
Yeah, that was his. And then he got ducked off for a minute and came back and said, where my broad at? He said, oh, we gave it to somebody else. Because matter of fact, when he seen her, he told his mom and dad, I want that one. They said, why you can't get one of your own people? But they didn't know it was of Yahuwah to bring the Philistines down. That's what it said. That's why he had him marry old Delilah. It was an old ultimate plan to kill all you wicked bastards in the end. But sometimes people don't necessarily see it. Genesis 1:11. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. Now keep in mind, right, the priests are saying after they have bored holes and wounded, you know what I'm talking about? The name of Yahuwah, because that's what he's talking about, you profane the name of Yahuwah. Because you got to remember, he said he came in his Father's name and they received me not. So when they bore through Mashiach, they were born through the name of Yahuwah. Right? Correct? Then he said the table of Yahuwah is polluted, and we find the fruit and the meat contemptible. So what is this important with the fruit and therefore the meat? Where would the fruit come from? Well, let's look and see where the fruit would come from. Let's go back to Isaiah chapter 53. We want to look at Isaiah chapter 53. We want to look at about verse 10. Yet it pleased Yahuwah to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. And when thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuwah shall prosper in his hand. See, niggas who don't believe in Mashiach, that nigga already tapping. Yeah, you might well go and get to bed.
Check in with the door sheet on the camera.
On the camera, yeah. Don't do yourself like that. Don't do yourself like that. Niggas who don't believe in Mashiach will say this verse ain't talking about Mashiach because he didn't have a seed. But pause. Isaiah 59 and verse 20. And after Isaiah 59, Luke chapter 8. Luke chapter 8 and verse 11. I don't know why I flipped right out of the book of Isaiah when we need the same book. That was very retarded. Very retarded. 20. Isaiah 59. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, unto them that turn from transgression, and Jacob, saith Yahuwah. As for me, this is my covenant with them, saith Yahuwah. My ruach that is upon thee, and my words which I put in thy mouth, shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, saith Yahuwah, from henceforth and forever. Before we look at Luke chapter 8, let's look at Galatians chapter 3. So he just said he made a covenant with him. See, pause. If he just said the Redeemer, he made a covenant with him that word and that ruach would be with his seed forever, where can we go in the law and get a justification for that now that I think about it? Anybody know where we could go in the law for that? He said, this is the covenant I will make with you. My spirit that is with you, and the words that I put in your mouth will not depart from your seed, nor the mouth of your seed, from henceforth and forever. You got to go back to Abraham. Genesis chapter 15. Because we have to look at all that offspring is his fruit. And then he say that fruit and that meat is contemptible. Look like that nigga ready to tap too. You looking a little drowsy. Y'all real niggas. Eat and go to sleep. Eat and go to sleep.
Keep on pushing.
Genesis 15 and 3. Abram said, behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thy own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad, and said, look now toward Shamahim, and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. And he believed in Yahuwah, and he counted it to him for righteousness. So you see that Yah has made a promise, a covenant, if you will. You know what I'm saying? An agreement that he's going to make, he's going to produce this man a seed. And the same word that he gave to Abraham, guess what? Let's look at Genesis 18 and see how he put it in the mouth of his seed. And he put it in the mouth of his seed. From henceforth and forever. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Who did he give it to? He gave it to a set amount of people to be able to have that instruction. See, Yahuwah can visit whoever he want to visit, because you know he visited Amalek. You see him with Necho, the Pharaoh of Egypt. He said he spoke by the mouth of Elohim that I'm coming to take these people out. You know what I'm saying? He can give orders and instructions to whomever, but it's only one group of people that he actually gave his word to guard and to expound unto the rest of the world. This is why Paul said in Philippians that you shine as lights amongst a crooked and perverse nation. And he was really referring to the house of Yasharal as that crooked and perverse nation first. You know what I'm saying? But we got to remember when Paul say those that die without the law, those without the law will die without the law. Those with the law will die with the law. And we already know that from the reference in the law. The Canaanites and the Jebusites and the Hivites and all them, they didn't have the law. So when Moses them came in to take over the land, what did? They perished without it.
But can these Gentiles be prophets, like these kings that we have visited?
They could be that because you have book for that. If he so chose, there's
I
book
always
for that.
thought a prophet was from Yasharah. I remember these dreams, like.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that because there's book for that. Balaam was not of Yasharal.
Yeah, neither the king.
Amalek was not either. I just told you he visited Nico and sent Nico on a mission. And we just read it. And what did he tell Josiah what we just read?
So they just can't. So no Gentile.
Because prophecy is different from teaching. Mm-hmm. Prophecy is speaking what Yah has to say.
Yeah, because a woman could be a prophet.
Yeah, the prophecy is different.
They just can't teach the word.
No, because that's different. I'm not giving you something for you to expound and teach to other people. He can give a vision and a dream to whoever he want to give it to, for whenever he wanted to, however he wanted to.
Because they can give you that vision and dream, I mean, you don't even understand it.
That is true.
Yeah, because Pharaoh didn't understand.
Nebuchadnezzar didn't understand.
With Joseph. Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar didn't understand, but Yah still visited him in it. But that's a little different. They gave him a dream, but Yah didn't visit them.
Like he visited.
Amalek, he visited him.
Yeah.
Nico, he visited him because he spoke from the mouth of Elohim, telling Josiah, "Do not fool with this."
And one of them kings of Egypt was righteous because he said.
That's because somebody either don't necessarily mean they're wicked, but we don't want to get off topic. You know what I'm talking about? And Balaam was a prophet, and Yah visited him. He was not of Yasharal. He was of another nation. See what I'm saying? So I can never tell somebody if someone of another nation went to prophesying, I couldn't tell them, oh, that prophecy ain't of Yah, because you a Gentile, you a heathen, you are the nations. I can't say that because I have book that says that is not true. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Is do you have book to back that up? If an African walked in here and say he was prophesying in the name of Yahuwah, I can't necessarily say he lying. You know what I'm saying? But that prophecy got to come to pass though, and the prophecy will never be contrary to the word. Even if a dude say he an Israelite and he make a prophecy, you just ain't supposed to jump on it and believe it. We'll see if it comes to pass. Yes, I imagine. Genesis 17 and 18. Genesis 18 and 18. My apologies. Genesis 18 and 18. Seeing that Abraham surely shall become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of Yahuwah to do justice and judgment, that Yahuwah may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken. So you know that this is going down, from your seed all the way down. Galatians chapter 3. Galatians chapter 3, verse 13. Galatians 3 and 13. Mashiach hath redeemed us from the curse of the Torah, being made a curse for us, for it is written, cursed is everyone that hang on a tree. That's still taking us back to Malachi, where they bored him, wounded him, taking us back to Isaiah 53. There's no difference. That the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Yahushua HaMashiach, that we might receive the promise of the Ruach through faith. Brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be after a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannul or add thereto. Nobody can make that covenant void, and nobody can add no more to it than what Yah put to it. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and to seeds, as of many, but as of one, into thy seed, which is Mashiach. So if you're not in Mashiach, then you're not of that seed. And if you're not of that seed, then you wouldn't be referred to this fruit and this meat that the priests found contemptible. Because it said they found this fruit and this meat to be contemptible. They despised it. They hated it. Luke chapter 8 and verse 11. Now this is the parable is this. The seed is the word of Elohim. Those by the wayside are they that hear, then come the devil and take away the word out of their hearts, lest they should believe and be saved. See, it's a lot of people, they hear that word, you didn't believe it, you didn't understand it, and that's why he didn't let you catch it, so you can die. They on the rock are they which when they hear receive the word with joy, and these have no root, which for a while believe, and in time of temptation fall away. Now this is a little different when he mentioned it in Matthew when they say persecution or tribulation, because now you're talking about temptation. See, pause. Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 9. And after that, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. You know, heard. Isaiah chapter 6. My bad. Make it verse 12. 9. Screw it. Isaiah 6 and 9 ain't gonna hurt nothing. This online, it ain't gonna kill nothing. Isaiah 6 and 9. And he said, go tell this people, hear ye indeed and understand not. See ye indeed but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat. Make their ears heavy. Shut their eyes, lest they see with their ears and hear. See with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart and convert and be healed. Then said I, Yahuwah, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without a man, and the land utterly desolate. And you have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. But yet in it shall a tenth, and it shall return, and shall be eaten as a teal tree and as an oak, whose substance is in them when they cast away their leaves. So shall the Kadesh seed shall be the substance thereof. Now notice he sat back and said that there'll be a tenth that'll return. If you also know in the law, there are certain instances where you're supposed to bring a tenth of your fruit in. But the key thing is he said there'll be a forsaking in the middle of the land. See, that's what happens when temptation comes. That's why he told you to endure temptation. Because when temptation comes, people tend to forsake Yah. And then at the end of it, they just can't just walk away from the whole thing. What we have to sit back and look at is temptation could be any manner of distraction. Because at the end of the day, the adversary will always bring anything to distract you from what you're supposed to be doing. And we can't allow any distraction to deter us from salvation. We can't let that happen. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. That's one of the reasons why he tell you a soldier cannot be concerned with the cares and affairs of his life. Because that's what usually steer people away. And like we didn't. I think I did read the verse last night. If I didn't, I apologize. But the verse in 1 Kings, we say every man know the plague of his own heart. Or when he said in Revelation, I'll keep you from the hour of temptation. See, some of you don't sit back and realize that you being tempted because y'all trying to see where your heart is at. Because that's what you're being tempted for. And when people say that they don't have no root in themselves and they not actually rooted in the faith, when they get tempted, they fall away. And that's what you have to sit back and look at. Nobody can't put the root in you. The root come in at, it's like he said, they endure for a little while, but when certain things when pressure came, people don't want to do with it. And pressure can come in many different ways. Pressure ain't just necessarily persecution. When the pressure of you have to choose between a word and a family member, a word and an event, a word in your job, a word in your kids, the word in your husband, the word in whatever, the word in your own wicked desires. You know what I'm talking about? That's temptation. Temptation is just like what James said. A man is drawn away and enticed of his own lust. That's why I say every man know the plague of his own heart. So you know what the things that you lusting after and you desiring after, and these will be the things that could draw you away to walking away from y'all. Because Yasharal got God every time. They were tempted by the things the nations had. Or they were tempted by the thing that this person had. Or I want to do this and I want to do that. Okay, y'all wasn't a part of that conversation. But I'm going to tell y'all like this here, right? The biggest mistake that people make is that you think it is about you. This book is not about you. Nobody cares what you want to do. You were not made to do what you want to do. You were made for the esteem of the living Elohim. It is not about you. If you think it's about you, you will go to hell because you are a selfish, wicked individual. Because that's what the word says. They are lovers of themselves more than lovers of Elohim. If you love yourself more than Elohim, that means you think it's about you. It's not about you. And that's why we've been profaning this man's name everywhere we went, because we think it is about us. Nobody cares what your lifelong dream is if it's going to conflict with the word of Elohim. Nobody cares what's on your bucket list. Your bucket list should consist of 1,000 things. You know what it is? Kingdom of Elohim, kingdom of heaven, kingdom of God, kingdom of Yahuwah. That's what your bucket list should consist of. If it don't consist of that, then you worrying about doing the wrong things. Anything that man allow you to do in your lifetime, praise the Lamb, because that's your toil and labor under the sun. Outside of that, your number one desire should enter this man's kingdom. If that's not your number one desire, what you doing it for? What good? This man told you what profit is if you gain the whole world and lose your soul. What gain did you really have if you get to do everything you want to do in this life but you burn in hell? What good is that? I went to visit every place and country and city I wanted to visit. I got all the material items I wanted to purchase. I got the man or woman of my dreams. I got the status in my chosen field. And then on judgment day he say, depart from me, you work of iniquity, I never knew you. What was it worth? What was that worth? Because you thought it was about you. It is not. How can it be about you when we done read these passages numerous times where this man say you should be living for him who died and rose again for you? He say, I no longer live, but he that died and rose again live in me. When you going to allow this? When you going to give yourself up and allow Elohim to rule? Or you just going to be just like your ancestors were, proclaiming the name of Yahuwah but not in truth and righteousness? When are you going to allow this man to rule and realize no one ever asked you what you wanted to do? Nobody cares what you wanted to do. You were not formed for that purpose. You were formed for the purpose of doing the will of Elohim. Whether you choose to do the will of Elohim is on you. Because what did he say? What is the whole conclusion of the matter? And he will bring every work into judgment, whether it be good or whether it be evil. He say, fear Elohim to keep his commandments. That's the whole duty of man. That's your whole job. You have no other purpose on the planet than that. And that's what we were talking about earlier. We don't have to mention the event. Oh, when will the Sabbath be over that we might sell corn? Because we look at everything this man say to do as a burden because you think it is about you. And it ain't about you. You know why you was fasting? You know what you were supposed to actually be taking from the fasting? Knowing that Yahushua actually afflicted himself literally, you were supposed to realize the suffering in the flesh that he took. And guess what? You didn't have to be impaled. You didn't have to be spit on. You didn't have to be slapped. You didn't have to be beaten. You didn't have to go through any of that. That's what you were supposed to be identifying with. Not just, I ain't ate no food. Because he fasted for 24 hours. These people beat him for a whole day. They impaled that man for a whole day. Now, how many of us have went through that for the word's sake? Not damn. What did he tell you in Hebrew? Ain't none of you have shed blood striving against sin. Ain't nobody in this room shed no blood not to sin. So why would it be difficult to refrain yourself from sinning? That's why he say, arm yourself likewise with the same mind. Yahushua suffered in the flesh. Likewise, do the same that you might cease from sin. That's what you're supposed to have been taking from fasting. You were suffering in the flesh so you can understand that I can suffer in the flesh to stop sinning. Not just I ain't eat for 24 hours. Then you also, even though the kid, like I said, right, I'll tell you like I said, there's a proper way to impart that information to the kid. Just tell him. Just tell him, you know why we didn't eat today? We did it for God. Why we did it for God? Because he did it for us. We could fill in the details in later. You know what I'm saying? But you plant that seed in their brain. Daddy, why we don't do this on the Sabbath? Because we resting in God. Why we resting in God? Because that's what he wants us to do. He ceased from doing what he wanted to do. So we cease from what we want to do. Give the details later. You know what I'm saying? It's a way to impart it to him in a way where you still imparting the wisdom of Elohim, but in a manner to where they can grasp it, even at their tender age that they are right now. Because they can grasp it, because they grasp Dora. And they also grasp when it's time to get some vittles and everything else in here, because you seen what they were doing after they got some energy in them. All they were literally mournfully serving Yahuwah this day, mournfully. All of them look like they wanted to cry. You know what I'm saying? But at the same token, that's the example when he say, look at a little child. We had them humble themselves. So why we can't, see, since I said that, have I read 2 Thessalonians? Go over here to Micah chapter 6 before I read 2 Thessalonians. Since I said that morning, before we read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Because you know, atonement is a solemn assembly. You know what it is to be solemn, understand it? A little sad. A little down. Boy, you alright, boy? You over there sitting like somebody's granddaddy. That nigga got his hands on the chest like he in a casket. Don't do that shit. You see it or didn't you know? That nigga was over there like this here. Don't you wake me up, boy. I seen you going in my... Get out my cigarettes. That's how granddaddy sleep. And that's when he doing. They sleep. See your grandkid coming there when they sleep. When granddaddy got his hand on the chest, he sleep. We can go in there and get one of them cigarettes and smoke it. We'll see how it tastes. Some of y'all know y'all stole y'all people's cigarettes. Lit it, and it was the worst decision you ever made in your life.
I think I left the urn.
6 and what's the verse over there? Oh, that's Isaiah. 6 and 6. I want to make sure. I want to get straight to the point, and I don't see the verses I want. Oh yeah, it is. Show you right. Wherewith shall I come before Yahuwah and bow myself before the high Elohim? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves of a year old? Will Yahuwah be pleased with thousands of rams, or with 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, and the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? Notice how he said the fruit of his body. Now we ain't focusing on everything else in this verse. I just want you to focus on the fruit of your body. He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth Yahuwah require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy Elohim. He done showed you what to do. And guess what Yahushua showed you to do? Did he not show you how to walk justly? Did he not show you how to love mercy? How many times did he show mercy on numerous different people? Can we look at the woman caught in adultery? What about all the people he healed? What about when he was walking through the field picking the corn and they came and got him, and he said, if you would have known, you wouldn't have condemned the righteous. Feeding the multitudes. He showed you how to love mercy, because he told you that in the Hosea, that he wanted the knowledge of Elohim more than burnt offerings, and for you to and mercy more than sacrifice of rams. And that's one of the weightier matters of the law, is to show mercy. That's one of the things that people don't look. See, somebody sit back and look at right this here, right? The master showed mercy on the woman who committed adultery, but he still told her to go, and he still rebuked her. You can rebuke somebody and still show them mercy. See, people take the rebuke as a lack of mercy. You know what I'm talking about? Because he still rebuked her, did he not? He ain't let her slide and say, oh, it's all right, you tooted your butt up in there for a man that ain't your husband. He said, no man condemn you? She said, no, I don't condemn you either. But go and sin no more. Because we don't play them type of games over here. We don't play that over here. You got no business doing that. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what people don't want in this lifetime, is someone to rebuke them. But we don't sit back and look at it to walk humbly. While you were fasting, right? You were humbling yourself before your Elohim. Now usually we just sit and talk. Like sometimes we just be sitting here and make niggas pray all day. See, most people don't sit back and really want to do that. They pray all day. That's why I was telling you, if you fast on your own, you pray all day. And I would recommend that all of you at least fast at least 5 times throughout the year. Minimum. You know what I'm saying? At least. Not for no other purpose than, hey, recall the mind of suffering in the flesh, but that you know that you said a day that you finna be beseeching Yah for whatever you beseeching him for. Like, if most of you say you after the Ruach and you after spiritual gifts and you after salvation, then it would behoove you to do them type of things. To restrict your body so you can ask this man, I really want that gift, or whatever else that you require, or that you're requesting of him. You know what I'm saying? That's talking about casting out an evil spirit. You got to remember now, you know, they asked the master why his disciples didn't fast when John's fasted often. He said, hey, you can't fast when the bride with the bridegroom. He said, but when I leave here, they'll fast a lot then. He said, but while I'm here, baby, we gonna party. You know what I'm saying? We gonna party. We gonna live it up. We gonna do our thing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just sitting here telling you that it's good to pray, but if you add the fasting with it, then this man is seeing that you humbling yourself before him for whatever your petition is. I can't tell you what to petition. I would tell you definitely don't be fast to ask this man for no spouse. Ask this man for no more money. Don't ask this man for a better car. You might well just kept that prayer to yourself. If you're going to humble yourself before Elohim, you better ask that man for something that's eternal. You know what I'm talking about? Better ask for some increase in knowledge and wisdom and understanding. That's what you ought to ask him for. And first and foremost, you better ask him for the Ruach. That's what you ought to ask him for. You ain't got to follow what I'm talking about. I'm just making a recommendation. Because you know niggas are fasting to ask for some stupid stuff. Please, Lord, I want a husband. Just send me a husband. I don't want to die old maid. Look at this nigga here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to sit here and tell you. And it would be good if you're going to fast, pray for somebody else. I done did it numerous times where I did not fast for myself. That was for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I was making petitions for somebody else, and I've done it numerous times for several different people. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm telling you that is when Solomon made his request, did he make a request for himself or did he make a request for somebody else? Who he made his request for?
People.
He made his request for the people. He went to Yah and asked Yah for something that didn't even benefit him personally. See, most of the time when we go pray and we make supplications, we ask for stuff that's going to benefit us personally. Whether asking for something that's going to be for somebody else. And if you notice, it pleased Yah that Solomon asked for something that did not even pertain to him. And the things that Solomon desired that he didn't ask for, Yah gave it to him. Because you ain't even come to me with that. Because that's the selflessness and the care of Elohim. That's what niggas don't do. You got niggas who very rarely even pray for other people. Or they pray for the people they like. I pray for anybody who walking in the word. Once you show you wicked, I don't pray for you no more. I promise you that. Your name will definitely fall right out of my brain. It's not even that hard either. And I can tell you, I ain't gonna mention it's some people whose names just pop up repeatedly, and I done already mentioned their name. Because maybe they got something going on. Who knows? Y'all knows. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak for none of y'all. Did that ever happen to you? Happen to you?
What, we paying for somebody?
Yeah, you didn't hear somebody's name.
Not while I'm praying, but
I didn't have it happen like this here. When that nigga did that there, made that proclamation in the living room. Alicia first time being around here, I used to hear that nigga name all the time. And then when that nigga did that, I said that's why. You had stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? Had stuff going on. I didn't know what he had going on. You know what I'm saying? We throw an extra one in there for you. Clearly it didn't work for him. And I ain't being funny. You know what I'm saying? Clearly it didn't work for him. He didn't get the strength he needed. And a lot of times we don't get the strength we need because we resist it. And not resisting it from coming from another person. Because the strength of Elohim, remember what he told you, the kingdom of Elohim is already within you. That strength is already there. You resist it though. You know what I'm saying? You allow your flesh to overpower the small amount of discipline in the word that is existing within you. You allow it to overcome it. Instead of allowing the word to activate and take over and stamp that desire down. Because if you don't heard enough word, that seed is there. Now where you allow that seed to pollinate and bring forth fruit is up to you. And since I said that, it's back to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and then back to Luke chapter 8. Because remember, right, what he told you in Deuteronomy, the word is not far from you, that somebody got to go to heaven to go get it, or go to the sea to go bring it to you. It's not in you, even in your mouth and in your heart, that you might do it. It's there. But will you allow it to activate and to take control? That's the question. You can know it's wrong to fornicate. You can know it's wrong to lie. You can know it's wrong to steal. You can know it's wrong to do whatever. But will you allow that word to take over? Because I'm be honest with you, ain't nobody sitting in this room, probably with the exception of probably Lisa and Khaled, and ain't nobody on their phone can say that they ain't heard enough word to where they know how to operate. Anybody on that phone, they know how to operate. Everybody sitting in this room, with the exception of them 2 people, you know how to operate. You done gathered in too much information. Screw all. We ain't talking about no dark sayings, no none of that. We talking about you done heard enough information where you know how to conduct yourself in a cognitive fashion. Would anybody disagree with that assertion? Huh? The kids in them? What about them? They done heard enough too. Some of them heard it in the womb. Oh, we can count them, they churn. We know you ain't heard nothing. Cause shoot, that nigga bathing with feminine products. I didn't have to mess with him one time. I ain't getting all day about it. I left him alone. Just had to get him one time. You know, you just throw. It's not a continual ride anymore. It's just a jab. You gotta tap him with one. You can't lay that down. I told y'all why he can't lay that down, because he was proud with it. He was bold. How you this one? It's the wrong bottle, son. It's the wrong bottle. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. 2 and 3. Because see, I'm going to tell y'all something, right? Falling away and forsaking ain't just for, like it says that in the book and other places, they forsook me and worship idols. Well, we end up forsaking y'all worshiping idols when we worship our belly, because he said that God, your God is your belly. You mind earthly things. When you desire carnal things, you have become your own God, and you forsaken Yahuwah for another God. And that's how you've fallen away. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there shall come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So there has to be a falling away. See, I'm be honest with you. I done told you this before. A lot of people you think falling away never fell away because they were never on in the first place. You can't fall away from something that you were never really doing anyway. See, y'all get caught up in this here because the niggas saying y'all, they know Yahushua, they show up for a Sabbath, but them niggas were wicked the entire duration that you knew them. You knew the stuff that niggas was doing that were contrary. Whether they even hear the true testimony of Mashiach or not is irrelevant. You were watching how a nigga lived. The nigga never got on. If a nigga was still sleeping with women and still getting hot and still getting drunk and working on the Sabbath and doing this and doing that, can you really say that nigga fell away? He never got on. Falling away is you endured for a season and then you said, screw this, I'm going back to the world, baby. I can't do this no more. That's falling away. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? It probably everybody in this room may have had in a time or two where you thought about, I don't know if I want to keep going because you got a little weak in the flesh. Some people listen to that and stop walking. Dead serious, you know what I'm saying? Because you're human. And the reason where that usually comes down to when you get in a low spot, things don't seem to be going your way. That's what some people get at if they never got rooted from the beginning. If you get rooted from the beginning, that type of thought don't necessarily come in your head. You get the reverse. You get what Elijah had came in his head and say, just go ahead and take my life because I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the reverse. If you rooted from the jump street, you would rather die. If you not rooted, you going to walk away. Because Elijah said, just go ahead and get me out of here, man. He didn't say he want to turn from you. Just go ahead and kill me because I can't do it no more. Even Paul told you that. He said, I'd rather be dead because to be with Mashiach is gain. He said, but I know it's better for me to be alive because that's more profitable to the people. And you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, if you was to hear Paul say something of that nature, you were like, that's very selfish. You know what I'm saying? But then you ain't looking at putting yourself in his shoes to consider. Look at what he's enduring for an ungroup group of people. I've been stoned. I've been shipwrecked. I've been incarcerated. I've been slandered. I'd rather go lay down. And you niggas don't listen. That's the part that y'all be forgetting. Hebrews don't listen. They don't listen. They are hard-headed, stiff-necked, and stubborn. If you won't listen to Yahuwah, we know you're not going to listen to no man. Because we don't even listen to y'all. You know what I'm saying? And then when he send people to tell you what he say, you don't want to listen to them. And you think somebody want to deal with that day in and day out? really think somebody want to deal with people disrespecting you and you there for them? You're not doing this for yourself. Niggas want to kill you. Niggas want to. You tell somebody they don't want to hear. Screw you, nigga. You don't know what you talking about. Just like I told y'all a long time ago. When Samuel told Eli what Yahuwah had to say, did he look at Eli and say, nigga, y'all ain't told you that, nigga, you lying. He said, hey, you let y'all's will be done. This man told him, man, y'all gonna kill you and your kids. He ain't turn around and say, y'all ain't told you that. He went ahead and bit that bullet. You know what people do? Our people done did during that time period and are doing 2017? Y'all ain't told you that and be ready to punch you in your face because it ain't went along with what you wanted to hear. And who wants to deal with that? But who wants to deal with a nigga just toss you all the way up under the bus, lie on you and disrespect you and slander you for whatever reason? Who wants to deal with that? Then when you trying to show them, hey, this what the book say, this what y'all say we got to do, that ain't what it say. I don't believe that. Well, shoot, nigga, don't believe it then. How you hurting me? You not hurting me, you hurting yourself. What else would I've been told you, man? I've been doing this for a minute. I done told you a long time. If a nigga don't believe it, why keep telling them? The nigga were arguing about shit you fast on atonement. I offered information. I'm not participating in the conversation. Y'all can argue till the cow come home. I'm not finna argue with you. Don't fast then. You know what I'm saying? Don't fast. You ain't hurting me. But if you're wrong, you're going to hell. So that's bottom line. You know what I'm saying? That's how you got to look at it. If you're wrong, you're going to lose your life. And that's why on certain things we done told you it's better to safe to be sorry. We'll just abstain. You're not abstaining because you're necessarily saying this is a sin or we're saying this is wrong. It's a blurred line where we're not confident in that assertion, so let's just not fool. It's the same thing with alcohol. Is it a sin to drink alcohol? No. Never heard me say that once, but we don't know what it is to be drunk though in y'all's eyesight, so it would be wiser to abstain because you don't know. Because what you consider to be drunk, he might consider you to be very inebriated. What you can consider, oh, I'm sober, I'm good. Y'all might be, that nigga drunk. That nigga is a drunkard. You don't know. So it's better to err on the side of caution. But you can sip as much wine as you want to sip and drink as much yak as you want to drink. It's your soul. Do what you want to with it. I can't stop you. I'm not going to look at you with derision. This nigga's drinking alcohol. Drink it. You know what I'm saying? If you wrong, though, you hurting yourself. You're not hurting me. I think that's where a lot of times the people sit back and look at that is if somebody shows something throughout the book and people say they don't agree with it and they don't want to do it, that you think that you're hurting the person who showed you that. You're not hurting me. You're hurting yourself. Because if you're incorrect in your assertion, then you hurt yourself. You didn't hurt me. Because it doesn't matter to me if you believe me or not. You need to believe Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need to believe. And if it's his word, then follow his word. Is it more important to sip some yak, sip some gin, knock back a Budweiser, or please y'all enter in his kingdom? What is more important to you? Is what you want to do important, or pleasing Yah? Which one is important to you? And that will determine your behavior. Luke chapter 8. That will actually determine if you bring forth fruit. This is how Mashiach brought forth fruit. Because we're coming back to the people looking at the fruit as being contemptible and the meat being contemptible. I just want everybody to make it. But I can't make you want to make it. I can't make you want it for yourself. You got to want it for yourself. And if you don't want it, that's on you. We in verse 14 in Luke chapter 8. Oh, we already out of our animal. And that which fall among thorns are they which when they have heard go forth and are choked with cares and riches and pleasures of this life and bring no fruit to perfection. But that on the good ground are they which in an honest and good heart, having heard the word, keep it and bring forth fruit with patience. You know what he said they bring forth fruit with? Patience. See, that's the biggest thing that stumble people up with this word because they have no patience. See, if I don't get the result that I want in the time period that I feel like I want it, then I'm finna slide and go do something else. You know what I'm saying? That's not how this thing works. How long did Abraham wait to have that baby? A very, very long time compared to when y'all promised him that. Which brings into why that happened with Hagar. Because Sarah had no patience. How long did Joseph wait to get out of that prison? You know what I'm saying? That's the part of the Revelation chapter 3 verse 10. That part of the game we don't be wanting to look at. Because the nigga want what they want right now. And you ain't even sit back looking at what you want may not he may give it to you, but the time you want it won't bring forth his will, or you may not be prepared to handle it. See, we want stuff from Elohim, but you got to be prepared to handle what he had to give. Because what he had to give is going to put pressure on you to make you become the person that you're supposed to be for him. Not for you, for him. He said, when you do endure chastisement, you will bring forth the peaceable fruits of righteousness to all those who are exercised thereby. So it don't feel good. See, you got this stuff in your mind because you a selfish nigga. See, that was Yasharal problem when they were coming out of the wilderness. They selfish niggas. Because we hungry. We're thirsty. How long we going to be here? Because they didn't have no patience. They couldn't wait. And that's why people get themselves in trouble right now, because they can't wait and they mess good things up. And then they be left with Satan. Yeah, they be left with an adversary. You end up left with an adversarial individual who was an adversary to the word Elohim because you couldn't wait. How many times in this book does it say, blessed is he that waits? Wait on Yahuwah. Wait on Yahuwah. That's patience. And people don't want to wait on Yah. So therefore you can't bring forth that fruit. You know Mashiach could have pressed and made everything go down sooner than it was supposed to. He could have pressed it and pushed it. And it could have collapsed. He said it got to be fulfilled, so everything got to be done in its time. And we don't be wanting stuff. I want what I want right now. That's westernized, but I'm not even gonna say westernized. That is Caucasian European thought process because they live in a instant gratification society. That's what they've crafted. But truth be told, people have always been like that though. I want what I want when I want it. But they say it's my money and I want it now. You know what I'm saying? Some people sit back and look at that, and this is the main thing where people get really caught at, and it's really about who they marry. Because they don't want to wait on Yah, so they go marry who they want to marry. When they could have waited on Yah and got, and I'm going to be honest with you, it usually be men who do that more than women. It usually don't be the women who do that the most. It usually be the men. Straight up and down. From my experience, what I've seen, it be the dudes who push harder to marry somebody instead of waiting on Yah than a woman do it. Because niggas be too horny, so they'll take whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's from my experience. I'm not saying this is a general thing. From my experience, dudes push it harder. Because it be more dudes marrying women outside the word than it be women marrying dudes outside the word. That's where I came in with that argument about marrying Gentiles. Because dudes want to marry whoever they want to marry. They don't care if they're in the word. You just hear dudes pinpoint women who saying they want men outside the truth because the men in the truth ain't this and men in the truth ain't that. I can't speak to the type of dudes they dealing with. Some women just don't want to be in subjection to a man. Some of them just you were just messing with lames and busters and suckers, and you blaming y'all for the nigga that you chose. You picked a nigga, you knew he was lame when you met him. Revelation 3 and 10. Listen what he did. Matter of fact, back me up to verse 8. Listen what the master say. Just listen what he say. He said, I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. How would you deny Yahushua's name? Anybody got an idea how you can deny his name? Deny his name. Let's look at it. Titus. From your behavior. Titus 1 and 14. Titus 1 and 14. He said, not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turn from the truth. Unto the pure all things are pure. But unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. Remember how we seen that there with that fruit? To anybody who doesn't believe the word, their brain is already defiled and they don't believe anything. So nothing that is clean from Yahuwah can ever be received from them, which is why they said the table of Yahuwah was polluted and that the fruit was contemptible and the meat was contemptible, and they profaned this man's great name and polluted the bread that was on his table because they were unbelieving. They didn't believe it anyway. But even their mind and conscience is defiled. They profess that they know Elohim, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and to every good work reprobate. So when you come back to Revelation chapter 3, when you profess that you know Yah, but your works are contrary, every good work that you do is rejected. It's rejected. I don't care how many poor people you feed. I don't care how many people you teach. I don't care how many people you clothe. I don't care how many people you give a good word to. I don't care how many Sabbaths you keep. All that junk is for nothing if you live contrary to this man's word. Because you saying you know this man, but your actions show that you deny this man and say he's not real. It's the same token if you don't take care of your house and your household. That man said you have denied the faith. Ain't that what he said? So you have rejected the word. You can't tell me you believe the word and then do contrary to what it say. Then you have denied the name of Yahushua, which means you have denied the name of Yahuwah. Ain't no way in the world nigga tell me he believe in Yah, he don't take care of his household. Ain't no way in the world you gonna tell me that. If you married, you got kids, ain't no way in the world you say you believe in Yah and you don't take care of them when the example in the book show you Yah doing that himself. Even when he put his wife out, he still fed her and clothed her. In all the places she scattered, he's still feeding and clothing you wicked niggas now. When I'm talking about people as a whole, he's still feeding these wicked niggas now. Because as a whole, this people is wicked. In the word or without the word. As a whole, our people are not any more righteous than any other nation walking this planet. And he still feed and clothe you. That man say his mercies are new every day. Every day you wake up, there's another chance that man showed mercy on you that you might save your soul. Will you take advantage of it or will you squander it? That's the question. That is the question. And that's what you're supposed to be considering with atonement passing. Let's look at it this way, right? You came from atonement, right? Which was the cleansing and the forgiving of the sins of the people, right? Then you come into the Shabbat, which is what? A day of rest. So now you have rest from all your labors, all your sins, all your transgressions. Will you acknowledge the symbol that Yah is showing you to continue to walk in the pathway of righteousness? Or will you just be like atonement's over and that's the end of it? Just the Sabbath, 48 hours I could. Man, what type of music you listen to in your spare time?
No, I was on social media.
That was who?
Somebody on social media.
Sound like that what you like to juke to when Callie ain't around. Callie, that nigga ain't here listening to nothing you buck when you ain't in the car. You might want to take his CDs from him. You might want to check him. You might want to go through his phone and delete music. You let it go through your phone. You be going through his phone, Callie?
No.
Not really.
You need to go through it and delete that music he got in there.
It was off Instagram.
Only on the weekend.
You need to delete that music in there. That nigga got knuck if you buck on the phone. He trying to blame it on Instagram. That wasn't on Instagram. That's in your music app.
I'm on Instagram. I got music out. I was on Instagram. I promise.
Yeah, what you doing on Instagram right now, sir?
Stumbled upon
You ain't stumbled upon. You don't stumble. Nah, that's like that nigga talking about he stumbled upon a penis and it fell in his mouth. I didn't stumble upon it. I stumbled upon some sex. How you stumble upon some sex? Because it really happened. You better be careful for a nigga get you like that in the cold clutch you keep out here running these streets.
Yeah, that was crazy.
He said, triple.
You said you slipped and fell or something?
No, he said he did it by accident.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you gotta be tripping.
Definitely was tripping. You don't act. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? You get in an accident when you in an automobile. You get in an accident when you trip over your own feet.
Listen,
Certain actions are not accidents. They were well thought out plans. You thought in your mind, I'm gonna hit Instagram while he talking, and you got caught.
That shit kind of woke me up, 'cause I was definitely out of there.
Sleep for what? Go ahead and take your rest. Nevertheless, Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Yahudim and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. Do you notice that he said the word of his what? Patience. So the whole thing about the word of Yahuwah is what? Patience. Because he said you will not bring forth any fruit to perfection when you caught up with the cares and affairs of this life. But he said those with an honest heart bring forth the fruit with patience. So if you want, and how do we bring forth fruit? We have to look at that patience and sit back and see why that fruit is contemptible in the eyesight of priests, other priests, because people don't have no patience. You know what I'm saying? Everybody expects stuff to happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? Some people sit back and look at me like, bruh, boy, how did you get so much knowledge and wisdom and understanding? Bro, do you know how long that took? I didn't have that level of understanding in 2009. I didn't have that level of understanding in 2010, nor in 2011. Even when we started this in 2012, it wasn't at the point when some of y'all came across me where it got to, and then it still steadily increased in the midst while some of you were present. By the time y'all came around, bro, that junk took 4 or 5 years to get to that point. I wasn't always, oh, I can show you this and I can show you that and I can show you. Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. That stuff took time. That takes time. You know what I'm saying? Any maturation process takes time. Does it take time to put sin away? It don't take that much time. That just comes down to discipline and diligence. You know what I'm saying? But maybe mentalities and thought processes, yeah, that might take some time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think you can control your penis and your vagina. I think you can control your members. I think you can control your mouth. You know what I'm saying? I think you can control what you do. But certain ways of how you think, yeah, it's going to take you time to mature past that way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? What does your Elohim say he is what? Long suffering. So one of the attributes of Yahuwah is patience. And if you can't exercise patience, then the word of Elohim cannot reside in you. Because you rushing. What is you rushing for? Where you got to be so quickly? Yeah, they told you that. The race is not given to the swift. We done went over that before. Niggas rushing. I got to get the ruach. I'll be honest with you. I can't even say that. Because most brews ain't even talking about trying to get no ruach. Most of them talking about, I need me a 3rd and 4th wife. But you know you ain't got that much stamina. You know what I'm talking about? And you can't even take care of the one you got. You want to add 2, 3 more? Talking about some nation building. I seen a nigga say multiple wives might be better for the single women who struggling with their kids. Well, nigga, just help them take care of their kids. Nigga, you ain't got to marry them. Why you got to marry her to help out? So you mean to tell me she ain't a sister in the word, and you like to say, well, shoot, girl, here you go. I'll help you out a little bit. Well, shoot, let me see your son. Let me take him to the park. If she was struggling, if that's, you had to marry her to do that.
Nah, he got to get some butt.
He got to get some butt to do that. You got to get some. You might not even like this woman. You just feel like you're a single mother. You need a covering. Let me cover your body. I mean your soul.
They say.
Yeah, niggas on that.
4 women.
Niggas on that.
7 women.
Niggas is on that. How you wicked niggas going? You ain't got rid of your own reproach. Talking about you gonna take away somebody else's reproach. Nigga, you still wicked. How you gonna get her right? Nigga really believe that? I can take away your reproach, baby, because you need a cover. See, I'm gonna cover you good. Put that berry right on.
I can see what the niggas in their garments doing.
Straight up and down, like this here. Like this here, moving with it, girl. Put on that secret garden, girl. It's going down. Niggas say, you listen to Quincy Jones? I don't want to marry you. You know what I'm saying? Because you know Quincy Jones don't like women.
Nope. No.
You ain't know that?
I mean, you try to go to pop. I know.
Yeah, nah. All right.
My boy pop, man.
Nah, Martin, we gotta leave that alone. But leave that alone. We gonna leave that alone. But dead serious though. I'm gonna read that verse again. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I'll also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, and that no man take thy crown. Him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. He shall go no more out. I will write upon him the name of my Elohim and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which come down out of Shamahim from my Elohim, and I will write upon him my new name. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the synagogue. But you notice what he said? That if you keep that patience, nobody going to take your crown. Who do we look at talking about don't let nobody take your crown? That was with Nebuchadnezzar. I forget the exact word, what it was, or we were looking at with him. But you can't let anybody take your crown. You got to hold fast what you got. That's what I meant by saying everybody, with the exception of Diamond and Summer's Eve and Alicia and Callie, have not heard enough word where they can hold fast. But Kira, Brittany, and T, and you and Nisha getting there though. You know all the way up, but y'all getting close. You know what I'm saying? But you know Darius and Stanley and Deidre and Shayla and Muffin and Dwight and Lee and Glover and my mother, myself included. What excuse do you have? We have none. Do you know what I'm saying? So we look at, I want to understand this and I want to understand that, when you should just be focused on let that understanding come when it comes, but hold fast to what you already got. Don't be worried about, I need to know this and I need to know that. You'll know that in this time, but can you hold fast to what you got? And can you carry it with patience while you got it until the revelation of whatever Yahuwah want to give to you is given? Because niggas don't want to wait. Nobody wants to wait. Why I ain't got a husband yet? Why I ain't got a wife yet? Why am I still going through this and still going through that? Because maybe you just need to be perfected first. Why don't you just wait and let the process finish? But you know what ends up happening? I'm a speed. And you know what happens when you speed? You sin. Ain't nobody in this book who speeded ever did not sin. When you speed, you sin. When you wait, you abstain. Ain't no way around that. You speed, you sin, you wait. Ain't too many people in this book who waited on Yah and sinned while they were waiting. You read about anybody here who waited on Yah and sinned while they were waiting? Because I haven't. But I definitely can read about people who did not wait on Yah and sin. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it, because he taking too long. What got the people, we read it last night, what made the people sin in Exodus 32? Couldn't wait. They couldn't wait. They couldn't wait. We have no idea what becometh of Moses. Let us make our own gods, Aaron. And what did Aaron do? Nah, nigga ain't making you niggas no gods. Give me your earrings. And see, that be the key point of what some of y'all get off track too. Let's sin. And you know it's wrong. You be like, no, nigga, I ain't sinning with you. Well, shoot, nigga, let's do it. Then guess what you do? Oh, I've sinned. It's too late for that. I ain't gonna do him like that because he ain't present. But I used to ride that nigga a lot for that when he first told me that. Because you should have been rolled. Because, nigga, you won't get no sympathy for me, nigga. That is lame. How you gonna sin and cry about it and then sin again? And then cry about it again? And then sin again? And cry about it again? That's not sincere. You didn't really feel bad. And truth be told, you might need to go to Hollywood. Because you might can get you a job. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. Because what did it say? Let's look what it say about Esau. Screw it. Hebrews chapter 12. I didn't want you to know that. All them tears, you could drop them tears on somebody who cares. Or somebody who gonna believe that. Because you know some people get moved by tears. Look at them, they crying. And you only do that for grown people. Because when you see the kids cry, you know they be faking. You can look at them and tell you nothing wrong with that nigga. That nigga ain't crying for real. But a grown nigga do it. Oh, but he's crying. Clearly you don't know this nigga. Am I lying though? Clearly you don't know the nigga. Ain't nothing wrong with that nigga. That nigga can cry at will. You know some people that can cry on command. You know somebody that can cry on command? I don't know too many people. I know one though. Nigga cut them tears on off the rip, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I ain't know too many for that nigga, but I knew a couple. They were usually women. But there's some dudes who can, if you can find a man who can cry on command, that nigga a sociopath. That's serious. That's my personal opinion. I ain't saying in fact. That nigga's a psycho. The nigga's son, ain't too many men can cry on command. And they ain't no actor. That nigga's sick. I mean, that nigga can kill people. You know, women do it all the time. You expect a woman like this, she go to crying, she get what she want. God, that nigga girl. I went to crying and snot coming out of my nose. He bought it. Nigga go to crying, you be like, shoot, cuz, gotta be hurt. He crying. Little do you know, as soon as you walk off, oh, shit, nigga. God, that nigga want for me. That nigga psychopath, sociopath one. Nigga, that's not normal. You planning to change our diaper? I need my diaper changed.
Sorry to hear
Yeah.
that. Yeah, she's wet too.
I just wanted my diaper changed.
I'll believe
Hebrew 12 and 14. Why can't I get my diaper changed?
Who, Marshall? Is that blue one?
I gave it a diamond, but he said that was size. Follow shalom with all men in Kadesh, without which no man shall see the Lord. Looking diligently lest any man fail of the favor of Elohim, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, thereby many be defiled. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For you know how afterwards, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. He found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. So he sought some repenting with some tears, couldn't even find it. Y'all didn't care nothing about them tears because you had done rejected him. And why did Esau get rejected? Because he was hungry and he couldn't wait. What good is this birthright going to do for me? I'm hungry. He couldn't wait. People who are carnal can never wait. Now, the remedy of that is to go from a carnal mind to what? A spiritual mind. That's not to say just because you were carnal then that you got to stay that. See, that's the problem is you get in a position and you feel like you got to stay that way. You don't have to stay that way. You can turn around. You're never too deep in any situation. Like I said, right? If you jumped in the deep end of the pool and you say, oh, it's too deep, you can always get out the pool. Do you know what I'm saying? You can get yourself in situations. He told you, 1 Corinthians chapter 10. We'll just read it. And then I'm going to get back over the point that we on. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13. Y'all always got to remember this here, right? Yah is merciful. And sometimes we look this man mercy in the face and don't even recognize it. He said, there is no temptation taking you but such as common to man. So there's not a single solitary temptation that nobody on this planet has never encountered. It's common to man. But Elohim is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. Most of y'all, when you got in a situation where you went contrary, that man gave you a way out and you did not take it. See, a lot of people say God won't put on you more than he can bear. That's a misquote. He said he won't allow you to be tempted above what you could bear. Not he won't put on more than you can bear in your life, but that he won't allow you to be tempted more than you can handle. Because he knows what each and every one of us can handle. And when he know you about to get to that point where you may sin, he makes a way for you to escape. And we always ignore the escape. The door be right there open. Then he tell you, Bill, get out of there. Leave that alone. And what you say, but I like it. And then sin bring forth death. Do not err, my beloved children. That's what the book say. Come on back to what do we work? We dealing with that fruit. Let's come to John chapter 15. Will I have time for Chronicles? Maybe will. Maybe I won't. That's just something to consider. I wouldn't care what none of y'all been tempted by. There's a way for you to get up out of it. But you don't want to get up out of it. Because you like fooling with it, whatever you fooling with. So you can go to hell with it. Because he's going to let you have that. Nothing is worth death. Ain't none of y'all finna run here and sip no strychnine. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't none of y'all finna drink no poison. None of y'all finna play Russian roulette with an automatic rifle. So why are you playing with sin? It's the same thing. Don't do it. Leave it alone. Leave them people alone. Yeah, make sure you don't cuff that highlighter though, sir. Got my eye on you. Got my eye on you. Look like you a highlighter cuffer. Why you walk around here like you want to go to sleep? I told you, nigga got some food and you nigga ready to go to sleep. Niggas wasn't sleeping when you were hungry. John 15 and 15. Man, one of you niggas want to take no nap.
I don't know that boy.
Now you nigga done got some chicken and rice in you and some cabbage. You done ate a nigga meal. Got you some ice cream and brownies and now nigga want to slob.
Niggeritis.
Niggeritis. You gonna be niggeritis when you on Mr. Charlie job though. Yes, sir. No charge over here, cuz. Say yes, sir. I bees right there. Some of you niggas go to sleep on the job though. It don't matter if you go to sleep on your job. You work on your own time.
I don't go to sleep on Pentecost.
Yeah, it don't matter if you sleep now. You working on your own time. You just prolonging your work. You know, if you don't finish them cracker jobs, shoot, quitting time 5:30, sir. I got to go home to my church. Go down to meet the missus. We gonna eat for dinner. I see you tomorrow. John 15 and 15. He said, henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant know not what his master do. But I've called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you, that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever you shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. These things I command you, that you love one another. We read this last night. I'm going to read it again. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. And if you were of the world would love its own. But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Remember how it said that they found the fruit and the meat contemptible? He was talking about the priests. They found the fruit contemptible. They despised it. What is the fruit that they despised? Let's look at 2 Kings 17 before we go to Galatians chapter 5. 2 Kings 17. I had something with Hezekiah with the cleansing of the temple, but it's long. And we had an hour and 20 minutes. It's officially 11:09. I might try to jam it. 2 Kings 17 though. Y'all willing I can make a smooth transition, slapped off into it. University. Let me check that though. I believe it is university. Man, when this phone be on, I don't hear when a text message come or nothing. I just seen that really. I probably did. Yep, university, public room A. Public meeting room A. 2 Kings chapter 17. Where's the verse that I require? This is verse 13. Yet Yahuwah testified against Yasharal and against Yehuda by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, turn you from your evil ways and keep my commandments and my statutes according to all the Torah which I commanded your fathers, which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks like to the neck of their fathers that did not believe in Yahuwah the Elohim. See those, and listen, and they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them, and they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that they were round about them, concerning whom Yahuwah charged them that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of Yahuwah the Elohim, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worship all the hosts of Shamahim and serve Baal. This nigga, he want to go there. A little sleepy. Go ahead, a little nocturnal. It's alright.
You know he's sleepy, he ain't sarcastic.
Ain't it though? So consider. The people who hate Yahuwah will hate the fruit that is byproduct of Yahuwah. Because remember, the master said they hated him without a cause. He said if they hate the world, will hate you because you're not of the world. So you have to understand that. You have to know that. Let's look at that fruit though. And let's see the things that the people hated. Because that fruit and that meat are the same thing. The meat is the fruit, actually. Because you can read that in Genesis where he called the fruit meat. And when he referring to animal flesh, he called it flesh. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little difference, depending on the context of what you're looking at. See, I'm be mad at y'all, boy. I be sleeping all the time. I just keep on going. I be dead tired every day. This week we got what? This week I might get 3 days to sleep past 4 hours. Because I definitely slept past 4 hours today. Niggas be calling my phone though. About nothing. Early in the morning. You know what I'm saying? That my homeboy in Dallas will call me early in the morning on a Sunday and be shocked because I look at that and drop that phone too. I wouldn't care what it was, but that means he calling me at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
His time. You calling me 8:34 on a Sunday morning. And you know I drive every night. Everybody knows this. And then I can tell this nigga, bruh, I'm asleep. Bruh, I want to ask you a question. I'm asleep. So, bruh, let me ask you this here. Are you serious, nigga? He do it every time. 5:22. I can't even get mad at him because he do it every time. I'm just like to say, this nigga just don't listen. He gonna ask you a question. He don't care. But the fruit of the Ruach is love, joy, shalom, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Now I'm going to ask y'all a question. Where can we see somebody that was hated, somebody who was exhibiting the joy of Yah? Because there's an example. Anybody know what that example would be?
I would say Joseph.
Well, how was he showing the joy of Yah to where they hated him?
He was doing what he was told.
No, I'm talking about someone exhibiting the joy of Yah and people were mad. Anybody got an idea? Yep, Deep just told you. 2 Samuel chapter 6 and verse 10.
What you doing? Oh, David. So.
It wasn't even Saul who was mad.
It was his wife.
It was his wife. I'm just showing you how they hate the fruit and find it contemptible and despise it because he was showing joy. Let's look at it. So David would not remove the 2 Samuel 6 and 10. So David would not remove the ark of Yahuwah unto him into the city of David, but David carried it aside into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. The ark of Yahuwah continued in Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 months. Yahuwah baruched Obed-Edom and all his household. And it was told King David, saying, Yahuwah baruched the house of Obed-Edom and all that pertain unto him, because the ark of Elohim. So David went and brought up the ark of Elohim from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with gladness. And it was so that when they bare the ark of Yahuwah and had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatlings. And David danced before Yahuwah with all his might. And David was girded with a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Yasharal brought up the ark of Yahuwah with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. And as the ark of Yahuwah came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before Yahuwah, and she despised him in her heart. She seen this man showing forth the joy of Yahuwah and despised. Because remember, it says they find the fruit contemptible. The fruit of the Ruach is joy, and she seen this man exhibiting the joy of Elohim. And what did it say she did? She hated him in her heart. Do you know how wicked of a person you got to be to despise somebody because they happy for Yah? You know how wicked you got to be for that?
You said who wife that was?
No, that was his daughter.
Oh, his daughter.
Yeah, we spoke wrong on that one. It was his daughter. You knew it was one of Saul's people though. So when we look at another fruit of the Ruach, where can we see somebody who despised gentleness? And you can use Mashiach in your examples. It ain't hurting. Where can you see somebody who they despise gentleness?
I got a question with the dancing thing. He didn't get naked, did he?
I don't know what people didn't say he got naked, did he?
No, I just said he uncovered himself.
What do you see? It said he
They said
uncovered.
who uncovered himself today in
He
the
said he
eyes
had
of the
his-
handmaids of his
he had
servants,
his
as
name
one of the
on it.
vain fellows shamelessly uncovered himself.
That's them talking against him.
Uh,
Let's look and make sure. That looks like that's them talking against him.
who uncovered
That's what it said. Then David returned to bless his household, and Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, "How esteemed was the king of Yasharal today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of his handmaids and his servants as one of the vain fellows shame." She was basically saying he was acting like a nigga.
Okay.
She was saying the king, his behavior was unbecoming of a king. Remember when the book say major, we read in Exodus last night, it said they made themselves naked. But that was sin. But let's look at what David told her. And David said unto me, "Child, it was before Yahuwah who chose me before thy father and before all his house to appoint me ruler over all the people of over Yasharal. Therefore I will play before Yahuwah, and I will yet be more vile than thus, and will be base in my own sight, and of my maidservants, which thou hast spoken of, and all them I had be in honor." Therefore Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no child until the day of her death. Her running her mouth, she was barren. Because that's what she got for running her mouth. And that's what I be meaning when I give you instances of it don't pay. Because I told you we were going to go back into Kings. When we get done with the Kings, we're going to hit the law, and then we're going to come back and we just going to look at David and Saul alone. Because that's still a part of the Kings too. But that's a big story. That's a long story. You know what I'm saying? When you look at really David, Saul, and Solomon, those are long stories which we just going to separate unto themselves, because those two stories, with the exception of Solomon, what Solomon didn't cause the split of the kingdom, which was what we were looking at to start off with anyway.
But he forgot that when he did his little dedication prayer to the temple, Solomon.
No, I don't think he did. He just probably didn't think he'd be the one to do it.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that, right? She spoke against a man who Yah chose. He shut her womb up. And guess what David told her? Since she said that, David was slick out the mouth and sarcastic. He didn't respond to like, he said, "Oh yeah, ho? Oh, I'm going to be even more vile and base, ho. How about that?" That basically what, in our terminology and syntax, how we speak, that's pretty much what he told her. Oh, you thought I would listen what he told her? "And I will be yet more vile than thus, and will be base in my own sight, and of my maidservants, which thou hast spoken of. Of them shall I be had in honor." He said, "They'll respect me, ho. Screw you." That's pretty much what he told her. Because she was mad, what type of king does that? Saul wouldn't have done that. Saul don't listen either. That's your daddy. That's my daddy. Your daddy dead, nigga.
Oh my gosh.
He was dead. He pretty much told us, "Shoot, y'all picked me before you and your daddy's house." What you mean? You know what happened. You know why he in the ground. That's why you ain't had no kids, ho. But guess what though? He didn't have to say it. Y'all said it with his actions. Because he shut her womb up. See, that's one thing I'm going to tell y'all too. You ain't in control of how many kids you have, if you're going to have kids, because y'all can shut your womb up and you won't have not a single solitary baby. Then you'll be crying out to him to give you one. Mess around. I'm trying to tell you, you have to consider that stuff. You better look at right. The book tell you that children are a gift of Yahuwah. So you better take the time to cherish and relish them while you got them, because you'll never know when he be like, "I'll just take this one here to get your mind right." Because none of us don't consider that. If he took one of your kids, would you be mad at him? Would you stop serving y'all? Because your child died and you be like, "Why did he kill it?" But then will you consider that your life don't belong to you, and neither do your children? You have to consider that. Because your kids don't belong to you. They belong to Yahuwah. He paid for them. You know what I'm saying? So every child you have, enjoy every single solitary moment you got with them. Because you never know, boy. You here today, you going tomorrow. And that counts for your kids too. And you ain't had to be did nothing evil for your kids to go. Because your child died don't mean they were evil or you were evil. Y'all give if he take it away. He could take your child for whatever reason he want to take it from. But would it cause you to stop serving him because they died? Or would you continue? Because some people like to say, how can he take my child? Because it's his, nigga. I got to be my mom.
Might be Nisha.
Oh, it's not.
That's Nisha.
Probably somewhere.
And this, boy, you sleep with that every day? We put that nigga till that nigga roll over.
I do.
Girl, roll over. I can't get jiggy with this. I'm going to sleep in the front room.
At this point, he followed his soul.
You probably used to it, man.
You used to it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you get used to that.
Put the TV up.
Because he loved.
He said he cut the TV off. He said, don't tell that lie. He said love ain't got nothing. Love ain't what love got to do with it.
Dog, man.
So when we look at gentleness, right, where can we see an example of people despising gentleness? Well, let's come over here to Luke chapter 8. This is Luke 8 that I want. No. Luke 8 ain't what I want. It's in the book of Luke though, but Luke 8 ain't what I want. Luke chapter 13 is what we want. Luke 13 and 10. Let's look at the people despising goodness. We probably deal with King Hezekiah. I really just want to swing one point in it, but I want you to see how, because we didn't finish that last night. I wanted you to see how they hate the fruit. You understand what I'm saying? They hate the fruit. And in turn, they're going to hate you. And if people are not, and you got to sit back and look at what are they hating? They're hating your works in Elohim. A lot of people don't really love Elohim. Man, I'm going to tell y'all something, man. I want y'all to just be dead real, right? I want you to understand this here. And I ain't saying it to disparage no person who's in the faith. I'm not trying to speak evil of nobody. I just want to be honest with you and tell you the truth. Just because somebody keep the Sabbath don't mean they believe in y'all. Just because some people make certain things and stop doing certain things does not mean they believe in y'all. You really have to sit back, and that's where the patience come in at. You really have to sit back and see over time where somebody's faith is at. That's one of the reasons why I told you in this particular way, like I can't tell you how long to wait to marry nobody. You can marry somebody in a week or two if you want to. But if you wise, you'll take your time. Because you want to make sure the man you marrying is going to lead your house in righteousness. Meaning that he's going to follow Yahuwah, and which means he's going to cause the household to do it. Because if you have to poke and prod a man to be a righteous man, then clearly that may not be a man you need to be following. You know what I'm saying? At the same token, you want to make sure that that woman is going to be a virtuous woman, meaning a strong woman. You know what I'm saying? As far as we're talking about perfecting everything that somebody feel like a woman is supposed to perfect, is not necessarily the issue. It's that she has that strength of Elohim in her. And sometimes you might want to give somebody some time to get strong. Everybody don't get strong overnight. Some people take it, because that's what a virtuous woman is. You remember that, right? That is a strong woman. And where does strength come from? Where the word of Elohim, where the word of the king is, there's power, there's strength. So you want to give them time to become strong because they're the weaker vessel. You know what I'm saying? So you don't necessarily want to speed if you see that she may not be as strong as she needs to be for y'all to serve Elohim equally. Because you don't want to be married to a woman who you got to push and prod to serve y'all. It ain't just about if she cooking and she cleaning and all that type of stuff. It's her strength in the faith. You don't want to rush into that if a nigga faith ain't right. Because that can tear down the whole household, whether it be man or whether it be woman. Period. You got to understand that. You got to know that. I'm talking about if you already married, it'll make no difference. You know what I'm saying? If you was already and then you get hit with the word, that's a different scenario. But if you're not married, what are you rushing for? That means you waiting on y'all. Ain't no need to rush. Once you see what it is, and you know what I'm talking about, then you gonna do it. But we know what some nigga like to do. Tell that lie and say, y'all ordained son, you know that man ain't had nothing to do with that. To try to push what you wanted to do. When a nigga should just be like, shoot, nigga, I just wanted to get married. Just say that. I don't know why nigga just say that. Because we're talking about this is serious, right? Because I'll be honest with you. The most powerful thing on the planet is a righteous man and a virtuous man together. the most powerful force on the planet, because that man is governed by Yahuwah, that woman is governed by Yahuwah, therefore their household is governed by Yahuwah, which therefore the likelihood that the children will be governed by Yahuwah as they get older is stronger. The probability is higher that they're going to be righteous as well. And that's really what we aiming for. You know what I'm saying? That's really what you aiming for. And sometimes you just got to let people give them the time to develop into that. And if y'all allow you to marry that individual, then you know that was y'all's will. But you just don't want to be doing it because you're lonely or your loin's itching. I'm in the wrong chapter. Forgive me. 13 and 10. Let's look at some gentleness, and this is goodness too. And they hated him for it. And when he is teaching in one of the synagogues on the Shabbat, behold, there was a woman which had a ruach of infirmity 18 years, and was bowed together, and could no wise lift up herself. And when Yahushua saw her, he called her to him, and said unto her, Woman, thou art loose from thy infirmity. And then he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight, and esteemed Elohim. And the ruler of the synagogue answered with indignation, because that Yahushua had healed on the Shabbat day, and said unto the people, There are 6 days in which men ought to work. In them therefore come and be healed, and not on the Shabbat day. The master answered him and said, Thou hypocrite, doth not each one of you on the Shabbat loose his ox or his ass from the stall, and lead him away to watering? Ought not this woman, being a daughter of Abraham, whose Hashatan had bound low these 18 years, be loose from this bond on the Shabbat day? And when he had said these things, all his adversaries were ashamed, and all the people rejoiced for the esteemed things that were done by him. You see how that's gentleness? As a matter of fact, we'll say that's goodness. You know how that's goodness? Because what did he say that was lawful to do on the Shabbat? Good. And what did they hate him for? For doing good. They hated him for it. They despised. It said this man answered with indignation. You know, indignation is a strong word. That's a strong word. You know what I'm saying? That means that man was mad. Very, very mad. Because he healed somebody. And guess what he was? A priest. Hated the man for it. Let's look at another fruit of the Ruach which people find contemptible. Because people, that's why he say, and that's why Paul wrote, they're despisers of those that are good. People, the book says in Proverbs 29 verse 27, if I'm not mistaken, the just is an abomination to the unjust, and the unjust are an abomination to the just. If a nigga is unjust, he can't like a just person. How is that possible? They're diametrically opposed to one another. They can't get along. So when we look at gentleness, where can we see an example of Yahushua himself being gentle? I'm trying to think which one I want to use. When you being a little gentle, because you being a little gentle, I'm going to be honest with you, I think gentle is going to translate in Greek to being merciful.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you.
I'm finna double check on that, but if my memory serves me correctly, it's gonna be being merciful.
I look at when
And it is kindness or doing good. Also, gentleness is mentioned. Basically, being kind, and loving kindness in Hebrew translate to being merciful.
when you see the people is fainting.
There you go. Let's go around that too.
When you see people what?
About to faint. Let's look at John chapter 6. Now you won't see an example of the people. We gotta use one where they hated him though. I gotta use one where he showed some gentleness and they was mad. Let's go to Mark chapter 3. You know, we gotta be consistent on the tone. Mark chapter 3 and verse 1. Oh, I got it even, and we'll look at Matthew chapter 8 behind that. I mentioned Matthew chapter 8. Remember when the man couldn't get a spot in the water, and they came and brought him to him, and he told him, take up thy bed and walk. And he said, man, then he said, thy sins are forgiven. And they say, what man can forgive sins? Only Elohim can forgive sin. They were mad with that because he showed kindness to this man, because of the situation that he was in. Same thing with the women who were bound, because the gentleness and the goodness go along with it. The goodness, there's certain aspects where we can look at goodness. Okay, I can give you another one of goodness. We'll get to that in a minute. That'll be in Luke 18, where we can see goodness. And it's gentleness and goodness kind of intertwined. Mark chapter 3, verse 1. And he entered into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand. And they watched him whether he would heal him on the Shabbat day, that they might accuse. You know you got to be wicked that you see a man with an infirmity and you watching to see if this man gonna heal him so you can talk about him. Not just talk about him, but accuse him of something so you can kill him. And he saith unto the man which had the withered hand, stand forth. And he saith unto them, is it lawful to do good on the Shabbat day, or to do evil, to save a life, or to kill? But they held their shalom. And when he had looked around about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts, he saith unto the man, stretch forth thy hand. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored whole as the other. And the Pharisees went forth and straightway took counsel with the Herodians against him, how them punk niggas. They went and ran out there to them crackers to figure out how they were going to kill him. Ain't that what it said? This man healed the man's hand. They went and got with the white man.
So, yeah, who are the Herodians?
A Herod homeboy.
Okay. Yeah.
Them Romans.
Yeah.
He went and got with some pink foots. We got to kill this nigga. Got to kill this nigga. That's messed up, though. Because he showed some kindness on a man. Just because he healed the man on the Shabbat, showed some gentleness and kindness. Same way when he showed kindness and gentleness to the woman who washed his feet with her tears and told her her sin. And the Pharisees were, this woman is a sinner.
And look at it when he wept, when he got Lazarus up.
Well, that's because Lazarus was dead.
Yeah, he looked at them when they were crying. He moved.
He was moved with sadness because that was his friend. Like Lazarus just wasn't somebody he was raising up. Like, shoot, that was my nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My nigga dead, but guess what? He just rest. But bastard, by this time he stinketh. And he went off on her too.
That's the same Lazarus that was with the rich man?
Possibly. It doesn't really say. And you know the master went off on Mary for that. He said, didn't I tell you if you believe you'll see the power of Elohim? Don't size me with that talking about he stink. You notice it said that he got angry. People don't think the master ever. You should have known he got angry when he came in there with them cat nine tails.
He got angry when they was in the temple, son.
Yeah, he beat him. Because the reason why I'm telling you.
Hands on him?
Yeah, he whipped him. He pulled out the cat nine tail and got him some behind. He tan some butt in there, along with flipping over tables and smashing all their products.
It was a time to fight.
Let me tell y'all something, right? I want y'all to get out of. You have to be able to equate that a man that was strong, disciplined, uncompromising, harsh, strict, and the same token was gentle, kind, loving, and merciful. Just all dependent on your behavior.
Sound like a daddy to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why he's called Exalted Father in Isaiah chapter 9. See, we just got this image in our head that he's so kind and he's so loving, and that he is. But he will bust you upside your whole head with no hesitation. He will go off on you with no hesitation. This man went off on his disciples numerous times. And there's a reason why I point that stuff out to y'all, so you can get the complete synopsis of this man's character. Because he's not just one way. See, we only want to focus on the part of him that you like. He loves people. He's kind. He also was very harsh in his speech. He was also sarcastic. You know what I'm saying? We done read some stuff where I done showed you that. He was very sarcastic. When you look in period, all the prophets were very, shoot, Yahuwah himself had some times we can read in this book where he is very sarcastic. That's how you know they black. Because in my opinion, black people have sarcasm mastered at a level of which no other race can even come equal to. White people are good now. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, throw some jabs.
White people are good with their sarcasm. If you're not skilled in sarcasm, white people's sarcasm will go right past you. You won't even believe this man sized you.
They size you every time.
Yeah, it'd be I don't know if they go
Real
more
soon.
racial with it.
It's not even that they racial with it, because white people speak with sarcasm to everyone. That's how they communicate, because they're taught to be polite. So they try to get off when you're aggravating and pissing them off in a way where you won't care, because they're trained to talk to this. Because white people talk, don't say anything wrong, Billy. Don't be nasty. So they learn sarcasm. So they can tell you how they really feel without you wanting to put your hands on. Black people tell sarcasm to cut you to your heart.
I feel like it could go both ways.
Yeah, like Brittany said, they do it in an annoying way.
They could go, yeah. White people gonna let you know they being sarcastic.
Niggas like to be sarcastic just to like this here. What you think, nigga? Like basically what you read with David. David was borderline being sarcastic with her. Oh, you thought I was vile? I'm gonna be even more vile. And my people gonna honor me, nigga. And what? He had to let her know. But I be wanting y'all to really pay attention when you see Yahusha interacting with people. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't interact with everybody the same way. You know what I'm saying? If you was with that rallies, that man got on your behind. Most people don't even think that man got... I told the brother, I say it's a righteous anger. There's no such thing as righteous anger. Read in that Mark chapter 3, he shut up. This man been preaching the word 30 years. How you been in the word 30 years and thumb like Yahusha don't get angry? When you read his father was angry numerous times. The issue is not being angry. The issue is in allowing anger to dictate your reactions. That's why he tell you be angry and sin not. You're flesh and blood. You're dust and ashes. You're going to get angry. People are going to make you mad. What's the next thing we need to look at? Let's look at Luke 18 for another example of gentleness and goodness. And somebody has something to say. You can see how they hated that fruit. People hate that fruit now. They hate that fruit. Sound like all them niggas are nuts. I forgot though. It's about 4 people gone though. Woo-woo. Boy, I hope you niggas don't be asleep when he crack them skies. Boy, that gonna be ugly. You hear me?
Sleep as far as like sleep.
Yeah, like physically sleep.
Wake you up.
Oh, he definitely gonna wake you up. Dang, that's not what I wanted. This is 16. That ain't it either. Where's this thing? What you looking at? Did they ever find that cup?
No, I don't think she's
Hold on one second.
Might be hidden, or like I told her, I hope he didn't throw it away.
What you putting on sorry for? You feel cold?
Thank you.
Luke 19, my apologies. Luke chapter 19, verse 1. My bad. It was a chapter a little early. And Yahusha entered and passed through Jericho. And behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus, which was chief among the publicans, and he was rich. He sought to see Yahusha, who he was, and could not for the press, because he was little of stature. He ran before and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was to pass by that way. And when Yahusha came to the place and looked up and saw him, and said unto him, Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, for today I must abide at thy house. And he made haste and came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all murmured, saying that he was gone to be a guest with a man that is a sinner. Zacchaeus stood and said unto the master, Behold, master, half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him fourfold. Pause. Ezekiel chapter 18, and you can see what type of man Zacchaeus wore, and that these people had no business calling him a sinner. Ezekiel chapter 18. They were calling him a sinner because he was a publican. Because they hated publicans.
Who was that calling the sinner? Scribe?
The people. Yeah. Definitely did. Definitely did. Let me see what verse we want. Ezekiel 18. pull the right verse. I'm trying to see what verse I would rather use. I gotta work my way around to get to the point of what I came here for. Verse 14, I suppose. Now if he beget a son that see all his father's sins which he have done and consider and do, not such like, that have not eaten upon the mountains, neither lifted up his eyes to the idols of the house of Yasharal, have not defiled his neighbor's wife, neither have oppressed any. You understand? Neither have, because that's what Zacchaeus was telling him. Have not withholden the pledge, neither have he spoiled by violence, but have given his bread to the hungry, and have covered the naked with the garment, that has taken off his hand from the poor, that have not received usury nor increase, and have executed my judgments, and have walked in my statutes. He shall not die for the iniquity of his father, he shall surely live. As for his father, because he cruelly oppressed and spoiled his brother by violence, did that which is not good among his people, lo, even he shall die in his iniquity. Yet ye say, why doth not the son bear the iniquity of the father? When the son have done that which is lawful and right, and have kept all my statutes, and have done them, he shall surely live. The soul that sinned, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. But if the wicked will turn from all the sins that he have committed, and keep all my statutes, and do that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live, he shall not die. All his transgressions that he have committed, they shall not be mentioned unto him, and his righteousness that he have done shall he live. Have I any pleasure at all that the wicked should die, saith Yahuwah Elohim, and not that he should return from his ways and live? I go back what I was talking about earlier. If you done did something you ain't got no business, just repent, and maybe this man have mercy on you can live. But this is what dudes use to say that Yahushua couldn't die for your sins, because they missed the point of that blanket statement when people say he died for your sins. They thinking that you saying that he died for Stanley when he committed adultery. He died for Deidre when she stole. He died for Darius when he lied. He died for the sins that were committed under the covenant. But you will still die for what you did. You will pay for that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they miss. And because dudes do not properly explain it, that's why they can use that Ezekiel 18 as a crutch. It's an easily obliterated stance that anybody with a half of ability in the word should be able to refute in 2 minutes. Honestly, not bragging or nothing. If you skilled enough in the word, you should be able to eliminate that conversation in 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly, sir, this is saying if what a individual person did. This is not dealing with the sins that were covered under the covenant, because what did we read in John 11? If this man don't die, the whole nation got to die, because the covenant said you got to die.
That makes sense.
Covenant said you got to die. Ain't no way around that. So if he doesn't make a new one, the whole nation's dead. You can't tell them niggas that. This is one of the reasons I don't engage dudes in that argument and conversation. Believe what you want, man. Who cares? But come back to Luke 19. But when you see how this man say if he taken anything by anybody from false accusation, he restore it fourfold. That's in the law. That's in the law. So this man is telling you he know the law, because the law says if somebody had somebody goods, and then you said that they took some of your goods, and it found out that wasn't true, then you had to pay them back fourfold. But see, y'all will learn all of this, y'all will, and we all alive when we go through the law. And you will be an expert in the law if you apply yourself to the knowledge of it. You will be an expert in it. You will know it. And you'll know. It'd be like if Darius was holding $100 for Stanley, and Stanley come back and they see to my, oh, you done took $50 of my $100. But then it comes out that Darius did not take that $50 of that $100. Stanley got to give Darius $400. Because he gonna try to take that money by false accusation back that you took my $50. You gonna take the $50 that's left over that you say you let him hold, saying he took the other 50 and he didn't. So he got to pay him back that fourfold. But if Darius stuck his hands in the goods, Darius got to pay him back fourfold. He got to give him back $400 because you done dipped in your neighbor good that he told you to hold, that he entrusted you to hold, and you done touched it and played with it. He got a provision for everything. You know what I'm saying? For everything. That's why he say if it's a controversy between man and man, you took him to the judges. And the judges would determine it. Oh, he killed my oxen. This, that, that. You didn't bother the priests with that. We ain't got time to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? But if it was a matter of life and death, oh, you got to holler at the priest about this here. Because somebody got to inquire about y'all, because somebody's life is on the line. It ain't going to be no, we got to pick a jury of 12. Let's hear the case. I'm going to hire Matanayu for my lawyer. Ain't no lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no lawyer. The dude on the hot seat tonight was saying that y'all don't keep the law because y'all don't keep the judgments. Y'all not stoning people.
Okay.
Just walk off talking about you keeping the law. You're not keeping the whole of the law. Where is your temple? Where's this? I'm like, nigga, is you serious, nigga? He say this all the time when Brew talking about they keep the law. Number one, no one can keep that judgment because he already told you if you ain't got whoever ain't got no sin, kill a nigga. So no one can execute that anyway. Period. Even then they had no business stoning nobody. They were doing it because of their pride. Because they didn't have no gentleness, they didn't have no goodness, they had no long suffering, they had no mercy, because they know that man put to pick that stone up and hit you with it after you hit him with it. They wanted to, where's your temple? When 2 or 3 of us in the midst, when 2 or 3 of us gathered in his name, our temple right there. How about that? Because I'll take him to Ezekiel. I made you a little sanctuary in all the places you've been scattered. And we got a sanctuary that was pitched by Yahuwah and not man. When 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, that's what a sanctuary at. Would you like another? Do you have another question? I seen a dude say today 7 questions you can ask a Hebrew Israelite that they can't answer with Deuteronomy 28. Some of them can be answered, but I can see why they would ask him, who was your king that went into captivity with you? And verse 36, Zechariah. Next question. Well, he gonna say on the Ivory Coast in Africa. I never said any king went into captivity from slavery and the Atlantic slave trade. That Deuteronomy 28:36 was referring to that. So take that argument to another person.
Yeah, you got to,
Because
at that point had that word.
that was Zechariah, sir. Just because, do you think that all 68 verses have to apply every single time we went into captivity? No, sir, they do not. No, they do not. Those curses are multi-generational. And there are also other curses in the 26th chapter of Leviticus also. Nevertheless, I see my people right now in a land that is not theirs who have to go in and thirst and hunger and nakedness and want of all things to some people who smell like dog and bologna. I can clearly say that I can read Psalms 144 and make a prayer to my Elohim and said, rid me from the hand of strange children, whose right hand is a right hand of falsehood. Am I not in a place with strange people who look strange and smell funny and teach me lies? Yes, I think I can. They do smell funny at times. Not all the time, sometimes. We probably smell funny to them. See, I don't get mad at white people say y'all smell funny, this, that, and the third, because you're different. And we're different.
What other question we were talking about?
I'm trying to think. The 2868, couple other ones, you know what I'm saying? Oh, how come it says the botch of Egypt? It was talking about a literal land. No, in that verse when he said, I hit you with the botch of Egypt, it was talking about the plagues that hit the people in that particular place. Not that you would get hit with the botch of Egypt. Try again, you intellectually inferior fool. So this is a white man trying to make us feel Christianity is not the white man's religion. Sure it's not. Sure it's not. Sure it's not. You follow it. I will not. Anything a white person is involved with when it comes to the word of Elohim, I want absolutely nothing to do with. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Vocab alone can't teach me nothing about no word. No disrespect. I will not learn from you. I got a better chance learning word from Muffin, Lizzie, and Leah than I do from you. And they're women and babies. Though Leah wouldn't be classified as a baby since she's about to be 5 years old. But she's my baby, so nevertheless. But that's serious though. You got a better chance of learning the word from Hezekiah. From Mari. Than I got from a white man. What can he teach me? About how to serve the devil. And not because he's white. Come back to Luke 19. Verse 9. And Yahushua said unto them, this day salvation is come to this house, for as much as he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man is to come to seek and to save that which is lost. And they were mad at him. You know how wicked you got to be mad at somebody for trying to save a sinner? You know what's funny to me? Dudes would be like, oh man, you don't talk to others. You wouldn't know who I would talk to. I say, man, I done sat down with dudes while they were on the block hustling. Little niggas who I knew. Dudes who I didn't know. To get their soul saved. Whether they obey or follow is another thing. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's look at another thing, because we're approaching on midnight. Burning the midnight oil, I suppose. And guess what? I got to come back and do it again. We'll deal with Hezekiah and the cleansing of the temple, y'all willing, tomorrow, to continue a theme of the things that we've been looking at. And then with that, we'll bring it all the way full circle about that second child standing in his steed that we talked about Wednesday. Because this fruit being contemptible is actually the children who are born of Yahusha. You know what I'm saying? And then those children is the fruit of his womb, because that was his seed, and their seed after his kind, of which the people hate and find contemptible. You know what I'm saying? And what they find contemptible is the works of Elohim. Now let's look at another one as we wind it down. Who was hated for being meek? Who exhibited meekness and they caught some hatred behind it? Absolutely. Numbers chapter 12. Zone kinfolk. And after Numbers chapter 12, Galatians chapter 4, 1 John chapter 5, and we'll stop right there. Number 12 and 1. And also, an example of somebody who despised the fruit of faith was Korah. Because Moses had the faith of Elohim and was doing the works of Elohim, and they despised him for it. You know what I'm saying? They despised him for it. And they were Levites and they were priests. And Aaron was a Levite and the high priest. Verse 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman who he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, have Yahuwah indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not also spoken by us? And Yahuwah heard it. And the man Moses was very meek above all men which are upon the face of the earth. And Yahuwah spake suddenly unto Moses and Aaron, and called unto Miriam, and come out ye three unto the tabernacle of congregation. And they three came out. We ain't read all. We know what happened. But they hated him for his humility. And that stuff is crazy, that when you see people exhibiting the fruits of Elohim, how you're despised for it. Galatians chapter 4. Because y'all willing what I got to deal with on, and I don't know why I thought I could combine the two. And I do it every time. We'll be looking at stuff with the temple. With that table and the things on the table. Because they mentioned it with Hezekiah. Cleansing out that temple. And it'll deal with atonement, and it'll just finish out everything we've been dealing with. Galatians chapter 4, verse 28. Now we, brethren, as Isaac was, are the children of the promise. But as then he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the Ruach, so even so it is now. Nevertheless, what saith the scripture? Cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be heir with the son of the free woman. So then, brethren, we are not children of the bondwoman, but of the free. And it also takes us back to the law that there's enmity between the serpent seed and the woman's seed. They're always going to find that fruit contemptible and despise it. And if you know that a corn of wheat abide in the ground alone, but if it die, bring forth much fruit, you know if you have died to your flesh and died to the world, then you show forth yourself to be the sons and daughters of the living Elohim. And therefore, because of the manifestations of the fruits of the Ruach, or that seed that fell in that good ground, and you brought forth that fruit with patience, you'll be hated for it. 1 John 3 and 1 first, actually, and that's where we'll stop instead of chapter 5. I guess we can read chapter 5. We ain't going to read it. Yeah, we'll read 1 John 3 and 1, and then 1 John 5 and 1. Call that a night. Behold, what manner of love hath the Father bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of Elohim. Therefore the world know us not, because it knew him not. And beloved, now are we the sons of Elohim, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that hath this hope in him purify himself, even as he is pure. Which goes back to a pure offering in Malachi 1:11 that we read last night. And if you have that hope in you, then you'll be clean, just like Mashiach is clean. Let's end it here at 1 John chapter 5 and verse 1. Whosoever believes that Yahushua is the Mashiach is born of Elohim. Everyone that love him and that begat love him, also that is begotten of him. By this we know we love the children of Elohim, when we love Elohim and keep his commandments. For this is the love of Elohim, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. For whatsoever is born of Elohim overcome the world, and this is the victory that overcome the world, even our faith. And who is he that overcome the world? But he that believed Yahushua is the son of Elohim. Because they despised that fruit, and they found it contemptible. And why did they despise that fruit? Because that seed fell in good ground. It says that that man who got wounded for your iniquities, because they profaned it, would see his seed. We see that he made a covenant with him, and that spirit that he had and that word that was in his mouth would be on his seed. That seed are all those who are born of him, which we talked about on Wednesday, with the second child reigning in the steed and him coming out of prison to reign, and all these things about being born again. Because when you're born again, you're going to manifest the living fruits of Elohim, and it will cause you to be hated. Because people don't really love Elohim and they don't know him. But hallelujah for Yahushua, and we'll start right there over. Y'all understood all that? You call